makes it fun, and at least you can type it out, right?
Well, how do you know the animal is live?
Yeah, it doesn't look like me. It's a freaking, it's an animation. No, that's a good question. That's why Derek's here. He likes those questions. I like Derek here. All right. The next thing is syndicating your blog. Allowing your blog to be syndicated is a good thing. All right. That's going to put a little RSS icon up there. People are going to be able to click on that. Uh-oh. Hey, Sam, could you see if that's still pointing at me, please?
Oh, you're still good.
You can see.
Move
You see
a
the
little bit
screen
to the
too?
right so you can see
No,
the
you
screen.
can't see the screen.
A little bit more. A little bit more.
You don't got chair.
Second?
Thank you.
No, a little
Sorry.
more.
Oh,
After all, it's all about you.
that's right. That's why I want the screen too.
There you go.
Thanks, Dave. All right. So syndication. Syndication is very important because it allows people to be able to consume your blog, meaning they're able to take your blog content and put it on their site, other people's site. But what ends up happening is they drive content to your site because when they, depending on how they consume it, they are bringing those readers to you. Okay. So maybe you're writing a blog about all your blog about is CSS. We're going to use that again. We're going to pick up CSS. And you're really good at it. You know your stuff. You're talking about all the CSS stuff. People are going to click on that. They're going to load it in their reader. So when they're using Google Reader or whatever reader, and they're looking at it, they click on that to come and look at your site. They pick the blog entries they want to read instead of having to go visit every single site. Right? They have it all in one spot, but that's still going to draw them to your quality content. All right? And also on other people's sites. There's sites such as dnnblogs.com or dnnblogs.com. You can get there with both URLs. This is a blog aggregation site to where, I want to know just about this one topic, and all these people, they bring their blogs in one spot. So through RSS, that's what makes this possible. All right? So that's a good thing. Now, if you want to use a different email than what your user account email is, you put it in this field. Typically, that will be important to you because a lot of people will end up using a personal email for their user account. But but that is going to be published to your RSS feed. Okay, so if you want to use a different email address, that's where you put it. Okay. All right, so everything else is self-explanatory. I'm just going to go ahead and click update. All right, so now the page has changed. I got my blog description here, very SEO friendly. All right, let's see here. We got some new options here. Now we have our blog list. Now we have a blog listed there with the RSS icon there. We have an RSS icon here too because up in our URL we're in blog ID 1. Okay, so that's the blog ID that we just created. So when we first come to the page, it's going to be all blogs that are part of that site. But when I click on a specific blog title, now we're in blog ID 1. All right, does that make sense? So that's how the blog module distinguishes and tells which blogs to load up in the center area here. I'm going to try to zoom in. The center area here. I just enabled zoom in again, so hopefully it doesn't screw me up. Oh, it did. Alright. I'm going to have to...
Probably the browser you're using.
No, it doesn't Internet Explorer too. And Chrome. It doesn't all.
What about Opera?
Opera 10.
Safari.
Yeah, Safari.
I use that.
Hey,
for one
Safari
day.
is fast.
It is fast, but it only does half the stuff. And it pays attention to half the rules. But anyhow, all right. So we have all these different areas now. One of the things that's important to see is this administration area now. We got the blog settings, so we can go back, those settings that we just saw, we can go back in there and edit them. One of the things that we can do in there once we edit them is also we can create a child blog. So this is where categories comes into place, okay? So if I want to add another blog and I want to call this, my other one is DN in place, but I'm only allowed to one blogging account per user account. Now I want to talk about something else. So maybe CSS, maybe this one's called pure CSS skinning. All right. Once again, I'm putting in something great, making the blog public, and I'm doing all these things. And I just click update. Okay. So now I have another one. Now, what happened though? It may look like nothing happened if you weren't paying attention, but this just brought me back to the original settings page. So now, if I scroll down, you can see our child blog down there at the bottom. Okay. So if I click cancel, it's going to bring me back to the page. But now, instead of a bullet place here, we have an arrow. So when we click on that, it shows us our other category. So what that allows you to do is you can see we have separate RSS feeds for these two. This is, if you can't see the URL, it's RSS ID 1, and this one's RSS ID 2. RSS ID 2. Alright, so, for the people that maybe they only want to, see your blogs about pure CSS skinning, they can consume that one feed. Does that make sense? So, depending on how you want your feed consumed, how you want your readers to be able to interact with you and interact with your content, that may be a way that you can categorize your content. Okay? The other way to do that is to create a different user account. Because of the way this blog module works, create a different user account for every topic that you have. Not as user-friendly. Alright? I do something similar for my blog. If we have time, I'll show you later. Alright, so we have the View My Blog. All that does is take us to our blog ID 1. Same thing that clicking on the title there is. And add blog entry. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. This is the web interface for the blog module. Now, something I'm going to tell you right now is, when you're writing a blog, how long do you think it might take you to write a blog entry? Maybe have just a rough guess.
21 minutes.
That's a great answer. That's exactly where I'm going. Alright. There's a deficiency of using the web form here. And they do have an option they're talking about, the save as draft feature, but I don't know if it's going to auto-save for you. So that's something I'm talking to Antonio about. Hopefully that's something they can do. But he mentioned 21 minutes because the default timeout for ASP.NET is 20 minutes. Alright, so if you're writing this blog, I'm sitting here, I'm just nose to the grind, I'm writing all kinds of great stuff. CSS is great. Oops, I don't care about spelling right now. And I'm getting through there and I have this demo with some sample CSS and everything. That could take 30 minutes or more, right? And then you go down here and you click update, it's gone. Alright? It's all gone. So that's the #1 reason why you don't want to use this interface. But we're going to use it. Alright? So,
I think you should use Word and then paste it in later.
no. I'll tell you what I do when I get down to the end. When I used to use this. One of the things that we have up here is the entry date. Don't mess with it, it's not going to pay attention to it. So when it gets sent back, unless you change the store procedure that actually saves the blog to the database, it's going to default to the UTC midnight date. Alright? So something I do, because I don't like that, I go ahead and every time I post a blog, I manually change the date. So that's just me. Anyhow, one of the first fields you have is for all the blogs that your user account has access to, you choose which one you want to go to. So if I'm just talking about pure CSS skinning, I'm going to go ahead and select that in the drop-down list. This is my first post about CSS. Alright. Now pay attention to how many words we got there, and we got the exclamation point at the end. Alright, I'm going to show you why I told you to pay attention to that in just a moment. Alright, this first area, the summary, that summary, depending on how you do the module options, which I'll show you in a moment, that could be required, but that's not a bad thing to use, because that'll get submitted out to your, if you're using the web interface, that'll get submitted out to your RSS feed, and that's all they'll get. So if they want the full blog, they're going to have to click on the link to come to your site. The negative to that is some people hate that and won't consume your blog just because of that. So you got to weigh those things out. But anyhow, this is great content. Click to read it. Alright, so that's our summary. This is a great content. Now you care, right? Alright, so we have a blog here. What I should have done is saved a whole bunch of the information. If I want to add an image to here, I can go ahead and browse my server. Oh, I don't want to go too fast for that. Hold on. We got the toolbar here, so we have the insert image here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. We can browse our server, so for images we already saved in our portals directory. Alright. We have a whole bunch of images in there. We can use the because I haven't set it up directories for my user to go ahead and upload one. I can't upload one right now, but normally I would be able to. But if I wanted to add one right now, I can choose like the DNA community logo. Maybe when I'll left align it, DNN. I can link it, all those fun things, and then I added it to the page. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up here maybe. See, now it's left aligned. You can see the text to the right of it. Now. So those are simple enough. You know how to enter text, you know how to add an image, you know that you want to write something, you obviously have an idea of something that you want to publish out there. The last portion here is published. If that checkbox is checked, it's going to be shown to everybody. If not, it's not going to be shown to everybody. If that's important to you, go ahead and use that feature. Typically, I don't start writing unless I want something to be published anyway, but